Joining us, do stay tuned. Ethiopian Electric Utility has announced that electric power service has been restored in 80 cities that were cut off due to the damage on electric infrastructure during the recent conflict in the northern part of Ethiopia. The Ethiopian Electric Utility stated that 80 cities and towns in the northern part of the country have regained the service as part of a major effort to restore electric to the areas of Tigray, Amhara and Afar regions that were cut off due to the conflict. It is stated that continued maintenance work is being carried out to reconnect the remaining 27 towns. It is also stated that the Ethiopian Electric Utility is making great efforts to restore the electric distribution infrastructures that were damaged during the conflict in the northern part of Ethiopia and restore the service to the areas that were cut off. The annual meeting of Ethiopian ambassadors, heads of mission and officials of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs kicked off on Monday in the African Leadership Excellence Academy. Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Affairs Minister Demeke praises Ethiopian ambassadors, diplomats for preserving Ethiopia's interests. Tigist Onesa has the following account. Take a look.
The annual meeting of Ethiopian ambassadors, heads of mission, and senior officials of Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ethiopia kicks off in Sululta on December 26, 2022 at the African Leadership Excellency Academy. During the event, it was indicated that the challenges the country faced over the past 2 years was unforgettable, but through the efforts made by diplomats, remarkable achievements was obtained in ensuring Ethiopia's interests across the globe. In his opening remark, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Demeke Mekonnen said despite challenges, the country has been registering successful achievements in the area of diplomacy.
The past 2 years, the country faced tremendous challenges, both on land and in terms of international relations. Ethiopia has been tested. Through it all, at first, we were not doing as per expected, but planning strategically, we were able to obtain remarkable achievements in the areas of diplomacy.
Demeke stated that ambassadors and diplomats deserve praise, since they were effective in preserving Ethiopia's interests, living up to Ethiopia's aspiration and the country's rich heritage. He also underscored that multiple diplomatic tasks have been handled to attain the remarkable achievements.
For our government has been giving peace a chance. A number of confidence-building measures were taken along with multiple diplomatic tasks handled. Their engagement plan has brought a remarkable achievement in communicating Ethiopia's diplomacy across the globe.
Demeke added that diplomats should work to strengthen Ethiopia's diplomatic capabilities in the dynamic geopolitics of the globe. He stressed the need for more diplomatic works that fit Ethiopia's situation. He said diplomatic activities that takes the vulnerability of Ethiopia into account in the existing geopolitics is crucial.
This is the eucalyptus tree, and they cut me a piece of leaf. I can't, like, Awasa is not real. Girl, now your body wake up on my life. You're the best I know. You're the best I know. حكي يا ورقي مدري كانت سرولة مدري حكي يا ورقي ولادي تقالوا
The Ethiopian Tourism Ministry is working aggressively to revamp its tourism industry in a better manner after 2 years. The smokeless industry, which was also hard hit by the coronavirus pandemic, will see a brighter future as part of this effort. The remarks by Ethiopia's State Minister for Tourism, Seleshi Girma, also includes the preparations being underway to host domestic and foreign during the Epiphany and Christmas peak seasons. Kasaun Jani has the following account. Take a look.
Ethiopia's State Minister for Tourism, Seleshi Girma, said that the government is striving aggressively to revamp the tourism sector in a better manner. Currently, activities are being underway at this peak season for tourism in Ethiopia by lobbying the international community and the diplomatic corps to serve the desired purpose.
We are reforming things like the visa. We have now the visa on arrival and the visa online, which is a big progress. And the other is we have started participating on international trade fairs, tourism fairs basically. We had one recently in November in the UK, in London. And we will soon go to the biggest travel fair, which is happening in ITV Berlin in Germany. So we are really working hard on aggressive promotion and re-imaging of the country.
The State Minister pinpointed that his ministry is also working to further strengthen people-to-people ties apart from promoting a tourism sector.
Yeah, it has a lot to do in tourism. Basically, this is, the idea of Africa loves to visit Africa. The African who came all the way from Uganda, Nigeria, and other countries, they were bright enough to understand the African tourism is very important, as we do. So they share their experiences. They share more of our vision in creating this regional tourism, East Africa level tourism with Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Djibouti and Eritrea.
In the meantime, he noted that the government is aggressively trying to attract more tourists for the impending Ethiopian Christmas and baptism holidays vividly.
We have Christmas, which is a holiday for most of the people living in overseas who are interested to come to the country. And we have also Epiphany, which is Timkat, one of the World Heritage Sites, intangible cultural assets that we have registered by UNESCO. So those are great events that have a pull factor to bring more visitors into the country, including the Ethiopian diaspora. So we have started the promotion work. We make sure the destinations are really safe. We are working with security and safety keepers in those specific places where it's celebrated most, though we knew that it's celebrated all over the country.
With regard to the peace and security issues, the ministry has finalized preparations by organizing safety keepers besides the hotline core adjustments.
We are working with all regional police and security people. We are working hard on creating even a separate tourist police. These are safety keepers. These are not military people, but they are civil safety keepers working only for the tourism sector. They speak the different languages of the tourists, and at the same time they know what tourists are really looking for when they come to the country, when they walk and hang around. So we are working with them, and we are also offering training for safety keepers, for the police people, to understand tourists are coming from a different background with a huge expectation of this country, and they really want to be free as it's their leisure time to walk around.
Seleshi further highlighted that the peace agreement marked by the Ethiopian government and the TPLF would play a critical role in the tourism sector.
You're watching Addis News Hour, and we have arrived to the segment of what's been trending, and I'm joined by our staff member, Tigist Sanisa. Good morning, Tigist.
Good morning to you.
So as we have to cut to the chase towards what's been trending so far, I think it's best if we actually get to discuss with regards to what's been happening, well, of course, past the Pretoria Peace Agreement, leading to the cessation of hostilities agreement between the government of Ethiopia and the TPLF. Well, of course, it has been very much expected to have tourists and all people to come towards the Tigray region if of course, these ventures have been prevailing. And I think you've got details with regards to the resumption flights to the Tigray region, which of course will be commencing on December 28th. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. It's to be recalled that the federal government initiated the peace delegation to head to Mekelle yesterday to strengthen the implementation of the Pretoria Agreement last November. And the implementation of this peace process is followed by different making available different infrastructures and restoring different services. From this, Ethiopian Airlines Group CEO Mesfin Tasew revealed the airlines will resume its regular passenger flight to Mekelle starting tomorrow, and a team comprised of Ethiopian Civil Aviation and the airlines have inspected yesterday that Alula Banega Airport is ready. Ethiopian Airlines CEO and his team were amongst the delegations of government officials who traveled to Mekelle, led by the House of People's Representative Speaker Takeshi Jafo, to discuss implementation of a peace agreement. And meanwhile, Ethiopian Telecom CEO Fred Tamru also announced that telecom services have been resumed in 27 towns of Tigray regional state, and Ethiopian Electricity Utility for its part disclosed that almost entire Tigray region has been connected to the national power grid, and officials of government services providing institution had discussion with community representatives, as per we've seen it yesterday, representatives of in Mekelle. And Fred stated that the maintenance of some 1,800 kilometer fiber optics lines is underway, and the maintenance of 931 kilometer of line has so far been completed. She added that as a result, 27 towns in Mekelle were able to regain telecom services. According to the CEO of Ethio Telecom, efforts have been carried out with great commitment to restoring telecom services to enterprise and humanitarian organizations, to addition to services providing institutions and banks has resumed their services. This is what have been trending so far.
Thank you for the brief illustration about what's been trending so far, Tigist.
Thanks for having me.
The Ethiopian Space Science and Geospatial Institute announced that it is working to exploit multi-dimensional use of space science and technology, making use of launched satellites. For the past 3 years, using ETRSS-1, the first ever Ethiopian satellite, the Institute has gathered geographical information through remote sensing. The Institute has observed the third year of ETRSS-1 satellite and the day of space science and GIS. Johannes van Town has the following report. Take a look.
The Ethiopian Space Science and Geospatial Institute is established with the objective of conducting studies and research that enable maximum utilization of multidimensional benefits of science and technology in the space and geospatial sector. Observing the day of space science and GIS and the third year of the first ever Ethiopian satellite, the Institute has disclosed space science and geospatial works are well underway. Abdi Sailma, director of the Institute, says his institute is making satellite data accessible with value addition.
The Institute collects information from satellite data reception stations, cameras mounted on aircraft, various sensors and surveying devices installed on the ground, and we provide it directly to institutions that directly use it in a field of development.
State Minister of Innovation and Technology Huria Ali, who gave the opening speech at the program, thanked the institute for its contribution to the country, adding she said her ministry will work to support and monitor the institute to make it more effective in the future.
The fourth stage of industrial revolution in which the world is now, digital technology, artificial intelligence, big data analysis, IoT and other technological discoveries are challenges and opportunities for undeveloped countries. The new technological revolution can be challenging if we do not make ourselves holistically ready and work by understanding the flexible nature of the sector.
Geospatial data and technology is fundamental and become increasingly demanding in all decision-making processes. This is according to Tullu Basha, senior researcher and consultant in the sector.
Global partners are working together to advance the implementation of this integrated geospatial information framework as a means to strengthen national geospatial information management capabilities. So geospatial information management is very critical to leverage social, economic and environmental development, and geospatial is foundational for planning, for actually delivering programs and projects. Every program project in government of every member state can be undertaken by the geospatial capability. So the framework will focus on implementing 9 strategic pathways that are supposed to actually advance the geospatial industry.
Ethiopia is working on science and technology with the ambition of being a technological hub in Africa. For the realization of this, 3 years ago it has launched a remote sensing satellite to collect information for the decision-making purpose. Reporting for ETV English, Johannes van Town from Science Museum.
Ethiopian Public Health Institute delivered a high-level consultative and advocacy workshop on National Cholera Control Plan. Health Minister Dr. Lia Taddese, representatives from WHO, UNICEF and other government officials participated in the consultative and advocacy workshop. In line with the global roadmap for the control and elimination of cholera, Ethiopia, through the Ministry of Health, has committed to roadmap a cholera elimination by 2030 on 71st World Health Assembly. Furthermore, Ethiopia took a bold and ambitious step to eliminate cholera in Ethiopia by 2028, ahead of the global target, and Ethiopia has developed its first country multi-sector cholera elimination 2022/23 with the overall aim to reduce morbidity and mortality due to cholera and achieve cholera elimination in Ethiopia by 2028. According to the Global Task Force on Cholera Control, the new global strategy for cholera control aims to achieve a 90% reduction in cholera deaths through the mobilization of cholera-affected countries with the support of GTFCC. More than 20 million children are facing the threat of hunger, thirst and disease, up from 10 million in July as climate change, conflict, global inflation and grain shortages devastate the region, according to UNICEF. Leek van de Waal, UNICEF Deputy Regional Director for Eastern and Southern Africa, said while collective and accelerated efforts have mitigated some of the worst of what was feared, children in the Horn of Africa still face the most severe drought in more than 2 generations. UNICEF estimates that nearly 2 million children in Ethiopia, Kenya and Somalia are currently in need of emergency treatment for severe acute malnutrition, the deadliest form of hunger. In addition, more than 2 million people are internally displaced due to drought. Water insecurity has more than doubled, and nearly 24 million people now face severe water shortages. Approximately 2.7 million children are out of school due to the drought, and an estimated 4 million more children are at risk of dropping out. As families are stretched to cope with increased stress, children face a range of protection risks, including child labor, child marriage, and female genital mutilation. Thank you all for watching Addis News Hour. I'm Zoltan Desalegn, and have a great day ahead.